Welcome to r/entitled people, where we share stories from your lives about people who think the rules don't apply to them and they should get what they want. Thank you, friends, for subscribing to the channel and for so many likes. And today we have 3 great stories, so subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story: EM steals my iPad while I was in the bathroom, and we caught her using the Find My feature. The second story: drama of entitled people at airports. The third story: I'm the only employee, and I'm quitting because my boss is a jerk. The first story is: entitled mom steals my iPad and demands I let her kid keep it. I work at a car dealership as a receptionist, one of my duties being greeting customers when they enter. I'm a professional artist on the side, and I've been busy with some commissions lately, so since it's not busy at the dealer, I started working on my iPad mini. It's old, and I'm working on upgrading, but I currently can't afford to, so I live with it despite the battery life being really short, and I have to basically keep it plugged in at all times. During my lunch, I was in the waiting area doing more work when a kid, a little girl no older than 4, came up and watched me work. This happens a lot when I draw in public, and usually the kids just ask a lot of questions, but this NG, nice girl, was very quiet and just had a look of amazement, so I just let her be. Her mother, the EM in the story, was nearby at a salesman's desk working on purchasing a new car, which is a long and no doubt boring process. The salesman working with her walked away, which at my dealership they do very often to retrieve paperwork, talk to the sales and finance managers, etc. She looks over at me and her kid and asks her, "What are you looking at?" Her kid points at my screen and says she's painting puppies. I was working on Twitch emotes of a streamer's dog. I sort of show my screen to EM and she then asks her kid if she wants to draw, which the girl excitedly said yes. I expected EM to pull out a paper and pencils, or at least ask if I can get some for her too, but she just looked at me expectantly. When I realized she was waiting for me to hand her my iPad, I said, "Oh, she can't use mine, but I can get her a notepad and pens." But apparently that wasn't good enough. She sighs and says, "Just let her draw a little bit. I'm almost done here anyway," which I knew for a fact wasn't true. They were waiting on bank approval for a loan, which can take anywhere between 5 and 30 minutes, and even then they'll be here longer for finance paperwork, detailing, etc. I start to explain that this is part of my work and she scoffs, saying I'm just doodling puppies, and it was selfish that I wouldn't let NG doodle on my device too. Poor NG was just looking at her hands, looking quite embarrassed. I then pretended my lunch was over and got up to spend the rest of my lunch at my desk. I couldn't see her behind a huge truck on display, but I can hear her grumble to NG about who knows what. Whatever, pretend like I didn't hear, so I don't mess up this sale for my coworker. Sometime later, nature called me and I got up to use the restroom. I left my iPad on my seat so it'll stay plugged in, and put a notepad over it to try to cover it up somehow. My desk is a wide crescent shape with no drawers to keep my things safe, so this was the best I could do to somewhat hide it. I was in the restroom no longer than 3 minutes, but when I got back, only my charger remained. My iPad and Apple Pencil were gone. I looked over to the lady, who had her large purse suspiciously in her lap now instead of on the floor beside her chair like it was before. I was panicked because a lot of my work is on that iPad that I needed. I went to my sales manager SM and told him the situation. He told me he would take care of it, to be patient for now. I went back to my desk full of anxiety and my stomach doing backflips. SM went to the desk where EM was to work out the deal. They're far enough that I can hear their voices, but not pinpoint what they're saying. But I did hear her eventually yell, "How dare you? I would never steal. Do you want to lose this sale?" I immediately got up and went over behind the lady, so SM could see me but she couldn't. He tells her he understands, but my iPad went missing, and he wants to make sure no one currently in the building has it. That's when I remembered the Find My feature on all Apple products. My iPad was connected to the dealer's Wi-Fi, so I pulled out my iPhone and pressed play sound for my iPad. Her purse started dinging. She tried to play it off as if it's a ringtone, and SM stared at her, as if daring her to answer it. Thing is, with the play sound feature, if I keep pressing it, it'll keep pinging. I made my presence known and have told her to give me my iPad back. That's when she stopped playing dumb and just said, "Just let NG have it. Her birthday is coming up and I can't afford a present for her since I'm getting this car." SM said he was happy to cancel the deal so she can instead buy a birthday present for her child, and to return my iPad or he'll call the police. She practically threw my iPad at me, where it hit me in the gut, and took NG from the waiting area to leave. Poor thing looked at me with the most apologetic look on her face before leaving with her mother. SM might have helped me, but he's not exactly the nicest person. From now on, I'm not allowed to bring my iPad to the dealer. I have to either leave it in my car or leave it at home. Whatever, EM took my Apple Pencil with her since she left in a hurry, so I'm gonna stop by the Apple store after work to get a new one. But until then, I'm stuck with my pens and notepad. Edit. I got off work until Apple Pencils cost like $120. The first generation. The one EM took I bought secondhand for $70. What the heck? Edit 2. I'm off work tomorrow, but my SM called the police and filed a report today using the info we have on file for EM. I really don't like getting involved with the law because it makes me crazy nervous, but I pulled through and answered the detective's questions. As far as I know, they have enough info and evidence to reach out to EM to get my pencil back. So many of you have been so sweet in offering to send me replacements, offering discounts and even alternatives until I get my pen back, but I already bought a new one after work like I mentioned. I do intend to make EM comp me for the money I spent on it. We'll keep y'all updated as this story develops. Update. It has been a stressful and anticlimactic week. I came back to work on my day off on Monday to talk to the police. EM apparently doesn't live in the county. She came here to try to buy a car that isn't available in her area, so they had to reach out to the police department there to talk to her. They took my info and told me to fill out a police report online so they can get started, which I did. I finally got word back yesterday on Saturday that the EM has been contacted and told to either give the pencil back or be charged with theft. I don't know what her reaction was, whether she went to the police or they went to her, or what kind of conversation they had, but I do know she handed over the pencil. 2 of her county cops just came into the dealer a few moments ago and gave me my pencil. They then told me that the next time, if I can do it myself, then confront the EM myself, and I was capable of doing so because of the info we had of her. However, they did say that they can proceed with the charges for theft if I wish to do so, but say I should think about her child and that she returned the pencil anyway. Honestly guys, at this point I was exhausted, and did not want to deal with the police or anyone in the legal system further. I just thanked the cops, offered them coffee, and sent them on their way. Edit 2. I made the decision to not press charges for the sake of my mental health. I'm instead going to trust that being contacted by the police was enough for her to be shaken enough to realize her actions have consequences. The second story is Airport Karens. So this happened earlier this month. I'm 20 female and decided to go to Spain for the summer to be an au pair. Sadly, this didn't work out due to weather conditions as well as flight cancellations. I helped them find another au pair though. So I live in West Virginia. Those of you who have been or live here know that there's only one major airport in the state, Yeager Airport, CRW, and it's small compared to many other states. So nothing eventful happened between CRW and Charlotte, CLT. I had a 5-hour layover originally at CLT, but due to bad weather in Miami, I was stuck for 3 extra hours. When boarding came around, the usual families with young kiddos, elderly people with disabilities, and first class go first. I have generalized anxiety disorder and was allowed to board with the first group if I wanted to. I took the option as I was already stressed out and just wanted out of the huge airport. As I was walking to get in line, this obnoxious voice comes from behind me. "Excuse me, you aren't disabled." I turn around and sigh as I see the Karen with her 2 teenagers beside her. Me. Actually, I have generalized anxiety disorder. The airline is letting me board early if I want to. Karen. Well, for someone with anxiety, you're pretty calm. I roll my eyes and grab my carry-on and walk to the gate, giving the person my ticket and boarding the plane. I get to my seat and get comfortable. The flight was uneventful, minus some unexpected turbulence before landing. Miami, MIA, was also kinda uneventful until on the flight to go to O'Hare, ORD. Yep, I'm never booking a flight through Expedia again. I wasn't so stressed out because the weather was great from MIA to ORD, and the wait time was only 2 hours. So I boarded the plane during my time and sat down in my seat. Well, a few moments later, this nice old man comes and asks if he can squeeze by so he can get to his seat, window. I let him by and the row is now full. The last person aboard is a Karen. The first thing she does is walk to the row in front of me and demand the window seat. When the woman refused, she called an attendant over and told her the issue. K2. This woman won't give me my seat. A. Let's see your ticket stub so I can check the seat number, miss. NW. Here's mine. A. After checking nice woman's ticket. Karen, your seat is in the back of the plane. Please stop bothering other passengers. That ended the Karen's rage moment. Later I found out that she was the nice old man's daughter. Feel bad for him. Now this one I witnessed as I was waiting on my homebound flight due to my last one to Spain being cancelled, due to a hurricane or something. We got to ORD smoothly and there wasn't any issue, until they cancelled the flight to Madrid. I was honestly kind of expecting it, so I wasn't bothered much by it. I just asked if they would be helping me to return home, and they said of course. So I left the American Center and went to Spirit Airlines. They had one leaving to CRW in 2 hours, so I gave them the voucher. About 5 minutes into waiting, I heard screaming and like everyone else did, walked to see what's going on. There was this couple, Karen 3 and Ken, who were screaming at the lady behind the counter due to their flight to Vegas being cancelled due to poor weather conditions. This was in United. K3. Get us on our effing flight now. UL. Ma'am, as I've said multiple times now, the flight has been cancelled due to bad weather in Texas. We can issue you a voucher for the total cost of the flight or book you for the next available option. Ken: no, we're getting on. That mother effing plane now. At this point, security had been called and came to dissipate the situation. They also cleared the area. Before I boarded though, both of them were arrested for smuggling of illegal weights. They had 2 types of illegal substances in their bags. And the last story is, threatened to rescind my raise? I quit then. To preface, I'm a college student with 3, now 2 part-time jobs to make a living. This job is pretty much me as a tech support contractor to people's homes. Basically, I had an appointment where I trained a new guy, who gave me a ride because my car is at a shop due to an accident, and it ended up being longer than expected, but it also ended up the customer writing a check for a couple grand. Usually when paid in check, I hang on to it until I have a few of them before going to my boss's bank to deposit them. This is something he's told me to do just with checks. As I didn't have a car, the guy I trained just took me home without much thought. I had my other job the next day and had my friend take me to work. At this point, the check is safely at home over a half an hour away, and I'm at the mercy of my friend going anywhere anyway. Oh, and I work until 4:30. I get a text from my boss in the middle of my shift at about 3:15, asking me, when are you depositing the check today? I'm like, first of all, I don't have a car anyway, so how am I supposed to do that? And yes, he is aware I have no car. Second, I'm at my other job, so I can't just leave early anyway to go home, grab the check, and somehow make it to the bank. I informed him politely that I can't go anywhere today. He proceeds to ask me why it wasn't done yesterday, and then said if I don't deposit the money today, he will adjust my raise. I proceeded to inform him I will deposit it tomorrow when I get my rental. He gets mad at me, saying it was a part of my job to deposit checks, to which I say yes, but it was not clear that I had to deposit it right away. He then berates me and I politely chew him out, how not consistent or clear he is about when he wants checks. He never responded. The next day I deposited the check after I got my car, sent picture proof it was deposited, then put together a polite 2-week notice check. He still has not responded. I've given him my timesheet and will email him again if I don't get my pay by Monday. I don't take being harassed lying down, or my money being threatened, and I don't need to be working for this guy anymore. I have better ways to spend my time in places that actually respect me. The cherry on top, I was his only employee in the area. He lives in another state. He gets to have a new guy work for him now. I hope you enjoyed these stories. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.